That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Columbia, this is... This is Houston, AOS, over.
What's going on, folks? Welcome to another episode of the Knicks Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Kyle Maggio, joined by my co-host, Shaun Geddes and Mike Cortez. What's going on, fellas?
Yeah.
What is up?
It seems like more of the same. It's 500 basketball. It's RJ leading the charge lately. Up and down Julius. Cam Reddish hasn't seen a minute. Just as a couple of the headline items, just to start on the top here. But Mike, I'll throw it up to you first today. How are you feeling about the last couple of games? I know the Cavs game ended a little stinky, but how are you feeling this last stretch?
Overall, good. RJ has been the main source of good behavior, or just good vibes, I should say. It's been great to see him have the ball in his hands. Sunday was a masterclass by him. I think he had 28, 14, 6, a block, and he made all his free throws. That was amazing. And the Knicks looked amazing in that game, and it really looked like Julius Randle belongs as the 1B. So that looked like the formula. Everything else is kind of in flux. I'm still confused why Alec Burks is the immediate answer to a backup point guard position when Derrick Rose and Kemba Walker aren't available. We play very slow. Burks is not really hitting shots at the moment, so he hasn't really looked too comfortable. That's a little confusing. Obi continues to be the same problem. He looks good sometimes he looks bad. Every time he's playing less minutes than he should. Julius, like you said, he's been up and down, mostly down on the turnovers. I don't know what's gotten into him with the jump passes. That's been very confusing to me. He had 7 TOs on Sunday. That was pretty gross. Let's see. Let's keep going. Let's see. Quentin Grimes has been amazing. And lastly, Cam Reddish. I didn't really expect a lot of playing time, but 5 minutes through 2 games, that's pretty rough. But overall, kind of like you said, 50-50. I feel like every good comes with a bad. So it's kind of where we are right now. We're kind of just in purgatory.
This was, I don't know, this is a pretty brutal week. To drop those 3 at home, but, at least pick up the 4th one was cool. And the Cleveland game was like an opportunity to start off this, swing of tougher games with some better momentum. And pick up a really good win on the road to start it off. And we had the opportunity to do so and let it slip away. So that was disappointing. It's really great to see our RJs playing and see that, it's really a consistent thing. And hopefully he's just able to make his free throws on a consistent basis, because that'll take this to a whole other level. The 28, 14, and 6 game was a masterclass. Seeing him spaz on the ref, for not getting the call, and then, go angry RJ mode and start dominating the game was beautiful. That 28, 14, 6 game easily could have been like a 40, 14, and 6 game. He missed a lot of, little push shots around the rim that normally go down. And he did play the whole entire second half, other things like that. So it's just, I don't know, seeing RJ approach his ceiling and seeing RJ step into himself, and even the post-game interview where he's like, they're like, oh, do you feel like you have shown you can carry a team or whatever? And he was just like, I feel like I haven't done anything yet. And he was like, I'm hungry for more. I want more. And call it cliche, call it whatever you want. But RJ just responds, honestly. That's really how he feels. That's really how he approaches the game, it seems. And, it's just really dope to hear that and to have that. Being 14th in jersey sales, that's really dope. We're just really seeing him come into his own on and off the floor, it seems. He's really taking a leadership role late down the stretch. And just being the guy, it seems the guy we drafted him to be here. And it's just really, it's like watching, a butterfly spread his wings. It's really dope. So if only we can surround it with some more winning, that would be beautiful. Hopefully Mitchell Robinson is back for the next game. He's been excellent lately. He just got the ankle tweak, so we missed him. Obi has to get minutes consistently, and if he doesn't, then you got to move on from him. But I think that on nights where he has it going and Julius doesn't, there's really no reason why he can't get more minutes. I'm whatever, you don't want to give him more than 10 minutes a game, but on nights where he comes out and he's shooting very well and he's scoring and he's got high energy and he's better on the floor, you have to be able to adjust to that. You can't pigeonhole him into the same role. It doesn't make any sense. Quentin Grimes is everything that I've been saying he would be all year. It's beautiful. We've been singing Quentin Grimes' praises for quite some time. We've seen it. We saw the vision. It just feels nice to see the vision, and the vision starts to come to fruition. Like in the beginning, everybody was like, "Oh, he's a rookie. There's no proof he can do that." Blah blah blah. It's like, bro, if you know how to watch basketball, you know how to watch basketball. He plays defense pretty well, and he shoots very well off the ball. Like he looks ready to play, and he's out there showing it. So at this point, I keep repeating it, but I mean, there's no excuse for Quentin Grimes not to be starting tomorrow. So I'm going to be pissed when the starting lineup comes out tomorrow. He's not in. I already know it's not going to happen, but we've now reached a point where every single game that he's not starting and playing as many minutes as possible is a disservice to the team and a waste of time. And it's become abundantly clear. He literally had Darius Garland in jail. Like it was beautiful. It was amazing. He changed that game for us on both ends of the floor. Like if a guy can change a game on both ends of the floor, there's no point of holding him back at all, especially if you just spend a first round pick on him. Quick has been doing well as a playmaker, not so much as a scorer. So I'm really looking forward to, his shot, starting to fall and him, getting his spots and things like that. But he's doing a really good job facilitating for others and all those things. Alec Burks has given us nothing since the last podcast. And I feel like we haven't even done this in a little while. So we're really getting nothing from Alec Burks on a night in, night out basis. Fournier has been shooting better, but still gives us absolutely nothing besides shooting. And miraculously last night he got off to a good start, and I was like, all right, cool. We ran the first 4 plays for him. He scored 7 points, and the rest of the game he did absolutely nothing else and had zeros across the box score. Didn't score again, and just damn, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah, Burks thinking it up makes me sad just because, I know Thibs is an over-dependence on him, but usually he fills in the gaps passively well. That's kind of why we have liked him since he's been here. He's been a nice little Swiss Army knife. Nothing wild or anything, not some crazy elite player, but decent enough. But this is a bad stretch. He already shouldn't be playing point guard. We know that. The numbers of him playing point guard versus just playing the two, let alone when he's on the bench, are pretty drastic. It's not a thing that's working out. I know Thibs trusts him as the ball handler, a lead ball handler, the inbounder. He really loves Alec Burks. I get it. But you got to just know that, of all the times when he talks about not wanting to shake things up, and remember, with the second unit, I can't take Quickly out. I can't take Rose out. It's going to ruin the second unit. But then Burks is in and out of with the first group and not. And if he's thinking it up, then there's no concerns about, messing up with the flow of it. It's a little bit silly. The sort of the issue that we have with Thibs is kind of that wishy-washiness sometimes with certain of his what seems like principles. So it's a little unfortunate, but it is what it is. But yeah, Grimes has played pretty well. I think of the last 4 games, he's played no less than 17 minutes. He's generally playing about 20 minutes a night now, 20, 25, which is what we want. Like Shaun said, when he's actively changing games, the longer he plays, he's got to play. Garland, I thought he did a good job on him last night. I was even talking to some Cavs fan friends of mine, and they said the same thing. Grimes was really giving Garland hell last night. He it's really, really at him. And I was like, it felt good. It's not just us, seeing it now. I know some other people see it. So hopefully Thibs continues to get the message because, Fournier, we keep saying he can start off hot. He can, he's largely had a good month. I haven't been saying a word because he's at least been doing his scoring job, to be honest with you. The defense, I know, and and Mike knows, we all know, Shaun, it's just it sucks. And he's not going to get better. He's only going to get worse. But it is what it is. At least he was shooting the ball well. And again, like Mike said, playing off RJ. That's all we can really ask for. That's why he was here to get paid. If he's doing that, I got to keep my complaints to a minimum and the fairness of all the yelling that I do. But yeah, Grimes, we got to, at some point, with these young guys, I got to take strangleholds of things to get there. When you got to shake up the normal, shake up what's in front of you, you got to really win the job in a convincing fashion. Not just the job, but even the pecking order you see with RJ. There's an opportunity, for him to establish himself as the number one, and he's got to go out and take it he has mostly this month, and he's got to stay on that. So all the young guys got to kind of have that mentality. They got to come out and just be like, hey, I want to keep outplaying Evan Fournier. I want to do it every single time I get out there. So it's very clear what I can do. Like you should have that, some sort of a competitive desire to want to show yourself. And these are usually first round picks right now. I'm sure they want to prove themselves. You see guys like Desmond Bane, get angry about, and he was just a jump shooter. Everybody said coming out of school. And then late first round pick with the Grizzlies, and he's killing it. And now every time he gets up and talks little shit, it's good. You want to see that. So hopefully we have some fire from our guys here. But I don't know. The Cam situation, I don't expect him to play much. At least the first. I'm holding. I said it on the Spaces. Just I'm holding out my reservations until after like the first week. Once he's like fully healthy and caught up to speed, you know what I mean? Come back from a sprained ankle, whatever excuses they're going to say to, as he works himself in. But after about a week or so, when we start to get a real idea like why he's in or not in, we'll see. It's very possible that they get busy at the trade deadline. They clear some room in some consolidation, and this was just a precursory move. And then Cam gets more minutes in the rotation that way. I mean, we're going to have to see at this point. It would have been nice to see him a little bit more than we did, but they know he's got a year left on his deal, right? I'm sure that there's some sort of foresight. I'm not going to try to be too reactionary, just give them the benefit of the doubt for now. I'd like to believe that they got a couple moves planned out to make this make sense because, we said the other day, it seems too obvious that they'd be too stupid to trade a first round pick to not play the kid. So we'll see what happens in that aspect. But yeah, him playing 5 minutes the first night and not really anything versus the Cavs, like, it's to be expected a little bit in the first couple games, although it would have been nice to see him.
It is, but I think the Cam situation is just reminding me of how stupid Tom Thibodeau could be. Why is he committing to a 9-man rotation in the month of January? There is no need for this. And especially when your point guard's knees are made out of paper mache, I just don't get what he's going for here because right after the game, if nobody knows what I'm referring to, it's after Sunday's game, he talked about Cam having to play his way into the rotation, and he's favoring a 9-man rotation, which confused the shit out of me because this time they actually have 12 guys that can theoretically contribute to this team on a nightly basis, and he's kind of just punting on that, which is mind-numbing.
I mean, I don't even really mind a 9-man rotation. Like, I get it, but like, I feel like then you need to be more selective about the 9 men. Like, if you're gonna have a 9-man rotation, it has to be like you can't waste any minutes in a 9-man rotation. Like, I think that doesn't make sense. So I think when you have a 9-man rotation and then you punt a lot of those minutes, you may as well expand your rotation. And but once again, I'm a little conflicted because I also don't really want to kill Evan Fournier. Like, it's kind of pointless. He's been playing better than he has the entire time. But I mean, even Burks has been really doing nothing. Like, he's just kind of out there.
He's averaging 8 points.
Averaging 8 points?
And over his last 11, 8 points, 11 games, 8 points, shooting 29.5 from the field, 29.2 from three assists. He's not really turning the ball over. That's like the only plus right now.
Yeah, like, that guy doesn't have to be getting minutes. And he damn sure doesn't have to be starting. Like, that those numbers right there that you just read off from a guy that started 8 out of 11 games for us?
Exactly 8 games.
That's disgusting.
Very.
Come on, like, that's disgusting. And that was like your reaction, like, oh, something happened, so let me start this guy. Like, do you think that, like, oh man, I hate to do this, but do you think that Emmanuel quickly would get to start for 8 games and in those 8 games score 8 points per game and shoot 29% and only have 3 assists? Emmanuel quickly got 1 start and was the best player on the floor for us, was 7 for 11 from the field, had 17 points, 4 assists, and somebody had the audacity to type their words and say to me, oh, he only had 4 assists in 40 minutes. See, he's not a real point guard. But Alec Burks can average 3 assists while not scoring at all and not scoring in an inefficient manner. And this isn't even, I have nothing against Alec Burks. If anybody who was starting for 11 games was averaging those averages and on those percentages, it would be a bit of an issue. And for some reason, we're just supposed to let Alec Burks get away with it. He's just supposed to keep doing it because he's 30. Like, I don't know. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Nobody else gets the opportunity to do that from the coach. Nobody else gets the opportunity to do that from a large group of fans, even that like are upset and nitpicking everything. But Alec Burks just like, I don't know. If that's the other option, that's clearly not working. What a surprise. Alec Burks being a point guard is not working. Who saw that coming?
It sucks. He had been reliable, and then until he wasn't. That's how basketball works. It's a long season in the NBA. Guys are gonna have the ups and downs, and at some point, you got to just know when you can't play guys too long. It's not, and like that's what we always say too. It's not even about playing guys, not playing guys, or always benching, sitting, whatever. It's always just about overplaying guys in general. Like that's even been one of our Randle notes too, right? Like Randle plays like 40 minutes a night, every night, all the time. He's always in the lineup. He takes a breather. He's back in after a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Like you can play and get 35 minutes of really effective Julius Randle. Like you don't have to play him 40 minutes. You don't have to leave Burks in big starter minutes and exhaust him. You know, like you don't have to do that. You can still play him. Nobody's saying he's never going to play, but just be smarter. Like you could, like even if you do start him and it's not working on a game to game basis, whatever, then you got to just know when to, you know, not do it. You know, just sub him out early. Like it's okay to do that. You don't always have to hockey line up it. You can deviate slightly as the game starts to happen. It's allowed. It's in the rules. You can do it. You know, you can mix and match position by position, one by one. It's a great thing you can do, but he chooses not to do it a lot of times. So yeah, I mean, he's just his in-game adaptability is really just, it's got to come up to speed, man. It really does. Like he really just feels like he has his own guys that he likes beginning of the year, and he just kind of sticks with them, and that's kind of it. Like that's. You know, that's the system we agreed on day one, and that's just what we're going to keep running. And it's like that's not how it works. And if that's not what he's actually doing, you know, or trying to do, then I'd love to see what the game plan is. Because it's like, you know, certain things we see too often with these defenses, and you know, with their defense or whatever, his rotations in general. It's, you know, things got to change at some point. You know, you tried it. You tried the Burks thing. Long leash he had. You know, you can switch it up now.
Yeah, but then there's moments like Quentin Grimes is averaging 22 minutes over his last 9. That's a very good thing that he's doing. But then he offsets it by Obi has played maybe, I'll look it up, but he can't be averaging more than 15 minutes a game. Why? There's no reason for that.
Obi may not be averaging more than 10 minutes a game recently, to keep it a buck. Obi's playing like 10 minutes if he's lucky.
But like it's for no reason. And like Kyle, you just outlined, Julius can give you very solid 35 minutes. And right now, the way Julius has just been out of control in terms of emotion, I don't know, something's going on with him. I don't know what it is, but this is a guy that would actually benefit from probably playing less and making the most out of his minutes, or at the very least, play them together. We've said this since day one. It still isn't happening. Like there's no need. You don't have to tell me if Mitchell Robinson's out, you can't play a lot more Julius and Obi. You have to play Nerlens Noel. I find that very hard to believe.
You have to play Nerlens. You have to play Taj Gibson. And granted, Taj has been very serviceable for us. I'm never killing Taj, bro, ever. But like playing the 36-year-old over the number 8 pick from last year, when the number 8 pick from last year made improvements, is bad. Like, and things bother me because regardless of how you feel about players as players are on the court or on this team or whatever, certain things are just bad asset management. Like how we're playing Obi and what we're doing with Obi is bad asset management, because if he's not the guy, you need to make somebody else think he could be their guy. And you need to pump that up as much as possible, even for leverage in certain conversations. Alec Burks, now you made this Cam Reddish move. I keep saying Alec Burks is the guy that has to go, because you can't move Evan Fournier. Alec Burks has a movable contract. Alec Burks is playing pretty well. And now for the last 11 games, you've decided to put him in point guard. His work, and you've done a disservice to him. And now you might be depressing that asset before very eyes. Like at one point, you could look at the top of a lot of charts in the league. Alec Burks was up there for off the dribble 3-point percentage and steals and all kinds of stuff. Alec Burks had like a really good perception. And now that you've taken him out of position and you've put him in this role he shouldn't be in, and now he's struggling, now all like the conversation is around the struggle if it's being had. So it's just like, I feel like there's better ways that things could be done, and it's kind of annoying and it's upsetting. But I'm glad that Quentin Grimes is getting more minutes. But at this point, I'm not satisfied with 22 minutes. So cool, you're playing Quentin Grimes 22 minutes. Should have been doing that earlier, honestly, whatever. I saw that Quentin Grimes should have been playing for a while ago, but whatever. It's the process, cool. At this point, he shouldn't be playing 22 minutes now. He's arguably our best wing defender. Him and RJ neck and neck. And when you have two really solid wing defenders in your starting lineup, that'll make you a much better basketball team. He's also a great shooter. I saw a stat for it on the timeline just now. I lost it, but he's like up there in percentage for like contested catch and shoot threes. Like he's just really special. So you got to play that guy. He's having an impact on the game. If you see what he can do now, how much better he makes the team, and you choose to have him in the game for less than half the game, you've made a bad decision. So play that, man.
And it's 12 minutes for Obi over his last 10, 12.
Thibs unfortunately only views him as Randle's like backup. That's it. Doesn't consider him playing him at the 5. Like he very, very few amount of times this year they played him together. And even then, I'm sure it was more in his head, Randle was the 5 at the time and Obi was the 4, but whatever he's got to do, they got to play them that way. I do even think going Randle at center would be fine. I think that's a good matchup thing. That Thibs seems like he doesn't want to do that a lot, but that's a way to get Julius going more towards the rim. Like to kind of clean things up for him. Not that it's at all the same thing. But they've done sort of similar in LA with the Lakers. LeBron's been playing the 5 a lot. They're having some success with it. But just in the sense that, like, a playmaking forward, getting kind of easier looks, more efficient games, like it's a way to try to help him out. Julius, for the life of him, I don't know what it is. He cannot shoot the basketball right now. This season, the shit does not go in. Sometimes I feel like it's not even his fault. Like my stance last night in Cleveland was I thought he didn't play a bad game. I thought it was mostly a pretty good game. Not amazing or anything, but I thought he was trying to get to the rim more. There was a couple times for sure. As soon as he saw hesitation, somebody, his defender, whatever, played up a little too high. He tried to blow by him, just get to the rim. So there was a couple good drives that I liked. Got to the free throw line. He took a bunch of threes. Not all of them were zero hesitation, but I thought generally he was pretty open, was taking them. So I like this shot profile, and I felt like a couple of shots just like did not go in. Like I saw a couple in and outs. So not making excuses, but I thought more or less, he had 3 steals. I thought not that he was amazing defensively last night, but I thought it was mostly a pretty good game. But in general, he just can't shoot the ball right now. This is a season-long issue. Even when he changes his shot profile, like this month, he's been playing off of RJ more, obviously, as RJ kind of takes on more of that offensive load. They're running more pick and rolls and more things like that. So Julius is spacing out a little bit differently. So even with doing that and kind of adjusting the shots he's been taking, because this is dating back to the Timberwolves game before that, a little before that now, he's been getting into the paint more. He's been trying to attack more. I think he understands he can't just shoot the jump shots anymore if it isn't falling. But even then, he's just the shots he does have open, whether they were more difficult ones or, wide open shots, like shit he was hitting last year, those difficult step backs all the time, he never missed. And now it's like, we got to find the gray area a little bit. It's possible he starts to catch fire soon. I say this every pod, of course, it's possible a good player goes on a run, the averages start to balance out, everything looks normal again, whatever. But like, as I said, we say this on the pod a lot, it's getting late fast. Like you gotta make shots, all of the talking I do about offense and score is like, that's what you need at the end of the day. You need to just make the shots. Like, and to me, he's getting better looks than he has been, in October. Obviously the first like 15, 20 games, I was reluctant to really go nuts about things going wrong or whatever. I thought, you're working your way back in, you're feeling out the season, whatever. But it's very obvious, he took a lot more mid-range, a lot more settling earlier in the year versus, to me, what he's been doing more lately. So, to me, I thought at least offensively, stylistically, in hindsight, now there was probably more credence to the complaining about it. But like, to me, I don't think he's taking bad shots anymore. I think a couple of the jump pass turnover situations, I agree with you. I mean, his turnovers aren't wildly high, this season. They're pretty much spot on with what he did last year, but like it seems like he does them in bunches more this year versus last year. We're just over the course of a game, it'd be a couple of turnovers, whatever, 3, 4, and then it wouldn't look that bad. Versus here, it's like you see like 2 bad ones in a row, or he throws one, the next one goes off somebody's hands, tipped out of bounds, something like that. I don't know what it is. I don't even want to say he's rattled. I don't know what it is, but it seems like he's just off. It's a weird season because he's still giving you what 19, 10, and 5. Like he's still producing, but it's like I'm not trying to oversimplify, but in my head it's like, damn, bro, like if you just made 2 more shots a game right now, layups, 1-3, like if you just hit 2 more shots a game, like I feel like nobody would be complaining all that much because his line would look so similar. I mean, again, oversimplification, 2 shots a game, I know. Over the course of a season, that's a lot of shots, I'm aware. But it's like, damn, man, like if you were just averaging like 21 right now, 21, 10, and 5, like people would be like, all right, like could have been better, could be better, could have been like last year, but he's not terribly off. It's like now we're back down to like what, 19, 18 and a half on the year. It's like, part of me keeps thinking this has got to be the worst of it, right? Like this is for sure career low numbers for him. Like he's always been able to score in this league. Like before everything else, he was able to score. Started closer to the basket, worked his way up, but he's always been able to score. I just refuse to believe that he just like this is what it has come to, some point it's gonna have to turn around. But it's really, to me, it's just coming down to like, gotta make your shots now, man. Like that's kind of what separates the difference between like the all-stars consistently and the very good players. And he's still very good. I'm not saying he's been bad. To me, truly, he hasn't been bad. He just hasn't been top 10 NBA player Julius Randle that we got kind of spoiled with last year. So just finding that middle ground between like where he's gotten to now and where he needs to be, that's it. To me, it really is as simple as just hitting that extra shot or 2 a game right now. Like you just got to make sure you're getting those, good games back under your belt because this is getting difficult. Again, getting to the free throw line, great. You're getting better looks. That's excellent. RJ's, leading more. That's great. The offense has shifted in a way that we wanted. That's, generally it looked good to start the month. We won some games, whatever. Things were going better. But it's like, the only thing missing is he's got to make these fucking shots. No matter how good the looks are right now, he's not making anything. And that's the frustrating part. So I don't like in the last thing, I don't think anybody really blames him for that last shot last night because what are you going to do? You get the ball from that distance with a second left. I mean, you have one option, and it's to shoot the ball from however you can get it off. I think the Cavs did a good job stifling that play, to be honest, but it wasn't I don't know what you guys thought. It wasn't an amazing play call anyway. It just seemed like a couple quick pop-outs that the Cavs stifled, right? And then
terrible inroads.
Yeah, and then that was it. And then Julius had to chuck up a prayer that didn't come close.
Yeah. No, I'm a little less optimistic. I feel like I'm chasing last year's feeling too much, not just with Randle, but with the team overall. But the main thing that's pissing me off with him is indecisiveness. He's getting the ball open in the arc, and he's kind of doing what Dennis Smith was doing when he had no confidence, where he would pump fake when nobody was there, or he just kind of like shuffles his feet, drives to the rim, and then kicks it back out to the outside. That's pissing me off. And his free throw attempts are down. He's not really driving. He's averaging less drives than RJ is. He's averaging less than 5 drives a game. 5 shot attempts per game on drives. Like, you're fucking built out of steel, dude. Like, beat the shit out of people. Him and RJ are really like 2 guys that can really beat the shit out of their matchups. And one guy's doing it and the other one isn't. He's settling for mid ranges. So, like I said, something's going on. I don't know what it is, but I know we might not get the Randle we got last year, but I just want to bully back. If anything, just turn into like an aggressive paint beast.
Yeah, it's disappointing. And honestly, if he was hitting an extra shot a game and it was 21, 10, and 5, I really wouldn't care. But I think that's I don't know if that's what's happening. Maybe some of the shooting woes are like, taken away from his like heart on the floor, or like, maybe he's down on that, but he doesn't play with the same energy anymore at all. And maybe it's me chasing last year. I don't know, but I feel like I shouldn't have to chase last year in terms of your energy, like, like the passion. I remember some of those games, like he had a couple of those possessions yesterday. He was guarding Evan Mobley and like really pressured him, and first turnovers, and we got out on a break, and Cleveland, like, they couldn't get into their offense. It was beautiful. And then he watched Kevin Love run around and splash threes for 5 minutes. And, so at that point, like, we need you to bring that energy all game. We need you to show up all game. Like, you have to, there's a lot of plays yesterday where, like one play, there was a switch he and RJ was supposed to make, and he just kind of let the guy go. He kind of walks next to guys sometimes when they dribble by him, and it's just like, this is nasty. I didn't see that from Julius Randle at all last year. Julius gave everything he had every single night, and that's not the case. I'm telling you, they keep asking us, they keep telling us it counts for 2 times. I don't care how many times it counts on any day. I'm not voting for Julius Randle. I'm not. I don't care. Call me what you want. Last year, I was leading the charge saying you weren't a Knicks fan if you didn't vote for him. I was leading the campaign because he earned that. He earned me screaming and telling everybody they got to vote for him. He earned all of our votes. He earned that every single night with the way he showed up and gave everything he had for us. He does not show up and give everything he has. And so that's why I'm frustrated. I don't know about other people. I've been saying all year that I think people kill him too much, but I'm also not going to absolve him of blame that he does deserve. I don't blame him for that last shot in Cleveland last night. I damn sure blame him for the shot before it. No way in hell. No way in hell he should have came down and dribbled the ball for 15 seconds or 12 seconds or however long it was. Why? It was Jay's night. It was clear. It was not Julius's night. It was 6-17 or 6-16 before that. And no, like, that doesn't mean, like, you can have a good night sometimes, but that was just RJ's night. It was clearly, it could have gone, RJ had Rajon Rondo on him, and he was getting to the basket at will all night. I think that if Julius gives that to RJ as they're coming up the court and he's begging for it, that we might win that game last night or get a better possession. The kick out, the shot that RJ took, it is what it is. Some people are saying he drove. I don't really think people understand how that works. If you kick the ball out to me with 7 seconds on the clock and you are standing at the elbow when you kick it out, where am I supposed to drive to? So now I have to take the best shot that I can get, and this is it. I have to take this shot right here because you drove with the ball for 12 seconds. And so that's upsetting. That was really frustrating for me, but I chalked that up to this is the beginning of RJ stepping into his own. There weren't too many nights where Julius had to defer to somebody else in that kind of a situation. So that's something, a dynamic that has to get figured out and communicated, but I shouldn't see it happen again. It was the first time it's happened. I get it, whatever. Everybody gets one. We're the Spider-Man on Family Guy, but it should not happen again. Like, that shouldn't be an issue another time.
Yeah, I think they're going to have progressions with this too, because, RJ has, I wouldn't say come along slowly. I think actually in his 3 years, the last year jump, now that he's showing up again this year, I think, it's been kind of like, big steps he's taken at a time, but at the same time, it's always going to be an adjustment, especially because Thibs doesn't run much actual offense, especially late game offense. So RJ trying to assert himself into that is like part of the natural motion of it, because I do think, again, like the offense has shifted way more towards RJ this month, which is good. It's what you want. And obviously they needed a lead wing/guard to step up. In the worst way, you needed to have that balance in your offensive attack. You just really do. You've seen it with the way he started. He's finally getting comfortable again, getting into the paint and everything. But it's still going to be a process, because you got to work out of, one part old habits, but, 2 is whatever late game nonsense that they're running. RJ's finding his way into now. And more often they're figuring out when he's confident to keep taking, certain looks or whatever else it is. So not as an excuse, but this is part of the learning curve for young players, basically, is all. Again, not absolving anything, but it's just, you gotta find your own way as a young player and find ways to take it and run with it and score. And he's mostly done that. He's been really, really good lately. I think he's done everything this month that we wanted to see from him all year. I'm pretty confident that with the offense running through him more, that this is more or less going to hold. But, they got to just, figure out and remember that they have him on the wings now willing to step up. This isn't like the beginning of the year when a lot of those looks were going to go to Evan Fournier, either late or, Kemba wasn't hitting the shots, or to start the season too. So this isn't, just only throw the ball into Julius again, because as we keep saying, he can't do it alone. He isn't capable of doing it alone. It's just not going to happen. But, at this point in time, he's got to keep relying on RJ's help. But, the last 12 for RJ, he's putting up pretty great numbers. I think he's averaging 23 points, This is the entire month of January so far in the 12 games. It's 23 points, 6.5 rebounds, 3.5 steals, 3.5 assists, only 2 turnovers, had a steal a game. He's shooting 45% from the field. He's taking about 5.5 threes a night. He's shooting 42.5%. He's getting to the line 6 times a game. Once again, I would prefer we didn't talk about his free throw percentage, but he's getting to the rack more, which is good. But this is what you want. Like in a young rising star, you want to see those numbers, those low 20s in points is like the first thing, right? Because last year, what was he? 17, 18 a night. So the next step, if he's actually getting more reps as a ball handler, you would assume he's going to find his way to the rack a little bit more, to the line a little bit more, numbers going to go up. So as long as he's taking a bunch of threes a night and he's driving like he's driving, I'm going to be pretty happy because that's all you want to see from your guard. I want to see layups because this team struggles with layups. We say this every episode, the three of us. Nobody's trying to score layups on this team ever. It's contested shots or threes and floater. Nobody's ever trying to shoot a layup on this team. So seeing RJ consistently get to the rack, score layups. Also, he's had a lot of tough finishes lately too. I heard the clowns in Cleveland on broadcast were saying he couldn't go right. He gave him a little scoop. They're like, yeah, drive him right. He's got nowhere to go. And then he throws a little scoop up off the glass right-handed. Beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to see. But yeah, this is all we want. This is all you want. In the NBA, you got to have lead guards step up, lead wings, whatever you want. You need a guy that's not a big man to do some shit. It's the only way you're going to win some games. So I need to see more of this. This has got to hold now the rest of the year.
Yeah, and the most important number out of the numbers you read off, 18.3. That's how many field goal attempts he's averaging during that same stretch. So it shows that A, Thibodeau feels comfortable with him being the top option, and B, which is less important but still important, Julius Randle's okay being the 1B. Usually he's the 1A, now it's the 1B. And you could just feel how different, like when Julius has the ball a lot, there's a lot more dribbling. I feel like the ball is moving a lot more with RJ at the center of everything. He's looked for Mitch a lot when he's driven. I hope Mitch starts to catch those lobs and finish them. And he's also looking on the fast break. He had nice feet to Fournier. I forgot which game it was. It was at home. But anyway, those are takes that he usually tries to force contested. Now he's passing that out. So I think he's stepping into his own at the perfect time. It's just up to the coaching staff and the team now with the trade deadline coming up to maybe just start to focus in on bringing the best out of RJ versus trying to bring out the best out of RJ and Randle. Not to get too extreme, but I hope you guys know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, you adapt as things work. Like that's how it's supposed to be, a fluid game. And everybody acts like this has got to be some like grand thing that take when Julius has to step down in the pecking order. It's really, to me, it really doesn't change a whole lot. It just makes Julius' life easier, which at the end of the day is what everybody wanted. I'm sure it's what he wants, what everybody wants. So even if it's a bit of a transition, like at the end of the day, like if RJ is going to continue to step up in this fashion, and this isn't just another little on fire streak, and then we go back down to the beginning of the season started, and this is what he's going to be like. No, I need the ball because I'm getting to the rack. I got to score. I'm going to keep hitting my three. I'm going to keep hitting my shots for the most part. You know, it's also how he's scoring when he's creating his own looks, because last year he struggled with that a little bit. He had the moves to do like those little spinning fades in the posts, you know, the little spin backs that he does. He was shooting a lot of those, right? But he wasn't making a lot of those last year. Sometimes he made them, you know, but it wasn't like, I feel this year it's been much more consistent. He's kind of gone to a little bit more. He's been quicker to get into it, where his footwork's been a little bit better. The footwork, too, is another big note because that's how he's been skipping through the lane a little bit better lately, a little more regularly. Used to be, right, Shaun? It used to be like one good one a game he'd give us. And then lately, I feel 2-3 times a game, he's kind of finding his way through a little bit easier as he gets through. So I just think his footwork's been better. So he's starting to look the part as a perimeter, like, budding star versus, like, last year I just felt I really like his all-around potential. I don't know where to go with him quite yet with the ceiling, but you could see he can do a bunch of things in different areas. He's scoring a little bit more. I'm not quite sure where we're going, but I like it, right? This year I'm starting to see like the mold take shape a little bit more with how he's doing things and how he's creating for himself. So that's my biggest like thing that I'm noticing with it. He, you know, beginning of the year he was stuck in the corner. It was gross. It was like rookie year RJ all over again, to be honest. That's not the way to use him, but they've done a better job getting him the right looks, and it's exciting because no matter what they do with the trade deadline, like they still need RJ playing like that. If you go and get a lead guard, right, you're still good, like another good guard to help out, right? Let's say Magic happens, you get a Brunson, that's great. You still need RJ playing like this. If you for whatever reason, if they did do that like Miles Turner trade, right, you get a Jeremy Gray, you source somebody up at the big position for some strange reason that I wouldn't be on board with, nor would anybody here, but you still need RJ Barrett playing like this. Like no matter what direction this goes, if RJ Barrett's on the roster, you need him filling into this role because it seems like I know Nick, reportedly is untouchable right now, but at the same time, like to me, he'd be the one that they're going to fight hardest to keep, obviously, above all else. This seems to be like a guy, if he's here, he's going to finally break the Charlie Ward course. It feels like that curse. It feels like it's a little bit of a formality now, as long as he's going to be in this uniform. It's just a matter of the day coming and he's got to sign the contract. But I don't know. We gotta keep saying it though. January's coming to a close, great month for it, but 3 more months ahead of games. We got all of February, all of March, most of April. So I mean, he's gotta keep it up now. They need it. They need it in the worst way. They need a star to kind of step up here. So we'll see what happens, man. We really will. But it's been encouraging. Encouraging to see him be, really confident with the ball. The defense has been better again. I'm not going to say, it's been spectacular. He still does some stupid stuff. One thing I don't like is do you guys notice he always, when he does a hard contest, he usually jumps. He always leaves his feet. It's like, and not always like, like the full on sprint where he's got to jump and the last second contest. Like some of them are just like, he's right there and he's just jumping. And it's like, it's like my only real, like I had it in my notes. It was my only real gripe for him, like defensively. Like I forgot which game. Like I think I saw it last night, but I saw it like twice. It was in the Clipper game. It was the one before. I had it all on my notes. I didn't like it. You got to just. It was
the Wolves. I think it was the Wolves game.
Yeah, he just stay on your feet. Stay on your feet. Like no one's gonna blow by you, and you have a big wingspan. Like you're probably gonna be okay. Just like stay on your feet. I don't think anybody's trying to test you. I think you'll be all right. Like just because they always sidestep them. So that's the annoying thing. And then he can't get over there. Right? My only note. I'm not trying to belabor the point. He's been really good otherwise. That was my only stop it. But
I think my stop it thing would probably be, I feel like he pulls up short on a lot of closeouts. Like not a lot, I guess, but that's something that happens often. But I also think that's part of our scheme. Like we're just converged so far in that we don't. But I would like us to close out to every single shot. Like there's that one play where he doubled in the post and then ran across and initially contested and like that's cool. Like bust your ass to get to the shot. But I mean, yeah, RJ's been really good on both sides of the floor. The haters were loud after his 2 games with a lot of turnovers, and have been quite quiet ever since. It's really disgusting, very nasty behavior. But once again, imploring them to come outside.
Wait, can you explain what was going on with the turnovers?
Well, he had 13 in 2 games.
Yeah, in 2 games he had 13 turnovers. So after that happened, then those little, it got really quiet. It got really, really quiet about RJ while he was going off. And then all of a sudden people had something they felt like they could say. So they were like, oh, he plays well for 2 weeks and then he gets trashed for 3 weeks. This is what's happening. And I was just like, bro, 2 bad games now, two games with turnovers. He is trash for 3 weeks. That's what we're doing. And then the Pelicans game came and he had 17 and 6 with no turnovers. Nobody said anything about it. Whatever, cool. Then he had 28, 14, and 6. Dominated the game. And now last night he was good down the stretch. He missed a lot of free throws. That's the free. I know you say you don't want to talk about. I don't want to talk about it either. But my goodness, they are breaking my heart. They are breaking every single one. There was one play yesterday. I was like, all right, cool, good. RJ's done a good job. This is a good time for him to get to the line. And then he went and missed both free throws. And I was just I just had that look on my face, wow. I was really excited. And now I'm really disappointed. But just seeing, I love the way that he's playing on the court, and I love his approach to it, and how he's hungry for more. And it's just a great time. It's a really cool, I feel like this would be a time we remember fondly. And it's also like, you know, we are the king of victory, the kings of victory live. So it's like, we've been very right about RJ. Like we've been very right, and he's showing how right we were. And it's only up from here. Like, you know, we're on, like as Kyle was just saying, he's showing some things this year that he wasn't showing before, as in like, you know, where the mold is for that primary perimeter scorer, things like that. And like he's just going to continue to grow so much and all this, and that's why I've always said that his ceiling, like the sky's the limit, because his floor is so high in so many different facets of the game that it just makes his ceiling like exponential. So I'm really excited. It feels good to be right, and I'm looking forward to hopefully attaching some wins to this great feeling. So just put Quentin Grimes up there on the wing with him. Let's start playing basketball like we care about winning games.
Yeah, pretty much. Really just going to be more or less interesting to see what they do around the trade deadline now. We know what this team is more or less. We at least know that RJ is getting more reps, but the only real questions to be answered now is trades. So there was a couple of notes today. I think it was according to Jake Fisher. He went on the halftime app, some sort of halftime app show. I don't know, but he was doing like a live show there, and he said the Knicks will definitely, they've definitely been active, one of the more active teams right now at the deadline. They're willing to discuss pretty much everybody. So I don't know what that means in total, but you know, it is what it is. Says teams have definitely called about Obi, but he's not sure if Knicks are willing to move. I don't know if that really means they aren't willing to move him. It reads more like he's just not sure about it. We'll see. And he said there's a lot of noise with the Knicks and Jalen Brunson, continues to be very loud. For me, I don't know. The rest of that's kind of vague, but the main thing for me was they're active and Brunson continues to be loud. So it seems like last time they were hot on somebody was Reddish. They ended up making the trade. Brunson, to me, is a fine option. I know there's a little bit of defensive concern with him, but I think he's like the kind of offensive guard you would take an all right swing for. I mean, right now he's not making anything. I think he's going to be asking for, 4 years, 80 mil or so. I think he's a 16-6, 17-6 type guy. He's only a fourth-year player. He could stand to shoot the ball a little bit better, to be quite honest with you. That's why I'm not totally in love with him. But I just think as a young player with some upside, he's already can do some things with the ball scoring, creating for himself, facilitating, not bad. And especially that's playing as the second facilitator to Luka too. He's getting 6 assists. So Luka's got the ball all the time. So 16-6 in your opportunities when you do get them is not a terrible thing at all, I think, in that full context. So I'd be okay with it. I think that's a win of the Target if they do it. Obviously I would always hope here for more elite talent shots at this point. I think that's kind of what we're waiting on is a big swing, a big fish to go after. You can't wait forever. But I mean, Shaun, what do you think about Brunson? Like, I don't know. We'll get into like the cost and everything potentially. He's only making like a $1.8 million. So, I mean, salary wise, a lot of things can work out to get him here. It's more about, re-signing him after he's here, I'm sure is what they want to do. But I mean, what's your take on the chatter there? How do you feel about him?
I mean, I'm not opposed to Brunson. Some people are higher than I might be. I think it would be a solid move. He seems like a solid guard. He seems like he'd be good as far as ball movement is concerned. He's got a quick first step. If you can get to the basket, that would be nice. So I see the fit. It also seems like, things line up in terms of, his dad's used to play here and has a relationship with Thibs, and, they seem to have a relationship with Leon, like whatever, all that back channel stuff. It all seems to make sense. But also, like, I mean, if there's defensive issues, especially because of size and things like that, I wouldn't be married to the idea. Like, it's Jalen Brunson isn't one of those where I'm like, okay, you have to do this. You got to make this move. One, because you got to make but I feel like if they target him in the offseason, they may as well just go get him now. I mean, if it doesn't cost a whole lot. But, if it costs something to get him now, and then you got to give him 20 mil in the offseason, and you still have Fournier here, like, I mean, it's at this point, I think cap space and all that stuff barely exists. Like as we said, the Heat do whatever they want. Pat Riley does whatever he wants. So it's like, we're already capped out, I guess. But like, just don't asset us out. Like, so if this is going to cost and limit assets and things like that, and the ceiling of this team is with Jalen Brunson as a starting point guard, are we prepared for the ceiling of this team to be Jalen Brunson as a starting point guard? And how much higher is that than other options that we may have if we keep in house or whatever it may be? So I would prefer to just, it's weird because I would prefer to just wait. I mean, I would prefer to go after De'Aaron Fox or just wait until there's a better point guard available. But if in the meantime of waiting, if there's a better point guard available, I got to keep watching Alec Burks play point guard, then go get one today. Like, that's...
I'm not even confident Thibodeau would play Brunson the appropriate amount of minutes anyway, just because he doesn't seem to give anyone minutes right away unless it was, I think Rose was probably the only guy who stepped in and was given minutes for obvious reasons. I'll be the one that's willing to sound stupid here, but unless you're making a massive leap or a sizable leap, starting with like a De'Aaron Fox type, I really rather them just see give Emmanuel quickly a legitimate run. Again, for people like whoever didn't watch Kentucky with Tyrese Maxey and Quickly, they were at least at the bare minimum on the same level. I would say Quickly probably a little better than Maxey in college, and Maxey is balling out for the Sixers this year. And the only difference is he's playing 35 minutes a game versus he played 15 as a rookie. I don't know why the Knicks aren't doing the same with Quickly. He's the best defender out of the guards, besides obviously McBride. And he's also good on offense. Does he take stupid shots sometimes? Yes, but that's stuff you can learn on the job if you are on the job. He's just sticking on the bench. And I just don't understand why you wouldn't at least exhaust all options before giving out assets for Brunson. I doubt Dallas is just going to give up Brunson for a bunch of picks. It would have to be for somebody decent that we like, because they're not going to just take Burks. The salary doesn't match up. And the Mavericks don't really have a large gross contract to absorb, so you can't make the money work. If there was a way to offload Noel, I'm singing a completely different tune, but I don't think that's the case. I just think you should stay in-house with point guard, and then obviously if a different player like Fox, I know some people said DeJounte Murray, then you start thinking about making a move. But Brunson's a very good player, don't get me wrong, but for now, you could really exhaust in-house options before parting with assets for that.
I wouldn't mind it because I don't think he's going to cost a lot in the sense of like what we think he's supposed to cost, just because he's like, for example, like let's say, being an optimist with this take, but let's say like Dallas knows he's going to walk. I'm going to walk. I'm not going to resign here. I know people are interested. I kind of know I'm going to go to New York. You know what I mean? Like you got no choice. I'm going to go. It's been decided. I like it. I'll finish out the season if I'm here, but I have other plans. Because I'm sure they have to talk about that if he's due to get paid soon, right? So, like, they have to have some semblance of a clue what he's going to be doing. So, like, if you already know he's leaving, this might be one of those situations where, like, yeah, maybe you got, like, a pick and, I don't know, like a deuce, like maybe like a little trade-off, something like that. I don't know how – I'm almost scared to propose.
23 pick back.
Yeah, give him their first-round pick back. Like, I'm almost scared to discuss this trade because first of all, like, trade talk is hard, bro. Like, just on a disclaimer note, like trades are every time we do this is like guesswork. Like just some semblance of like salaries, and then you got to involve a pick to make a team involved, and then guessing is like a nightmare. Like trades always happen, and a lot of times they're not close to what we thought they were going to be. It's like some weird package we didn't expect because that's the business of basketball. But anyway, the point is trades are very, very strange. So I don't really know what he's going to go for, to be honest with you, because if the Mavs have no intention of paying him, that's really what it comes down to. Did the Mavs actually want to pay that for 80? Because they're pretty capped out or damn close for the next 3-4 years. So are they going to be able to do it? How much salary are they going to really be willing to take back in a deal like that? Like Nerlens, can they afford Nerlens? Is that a thing, right? Probably not.
I think you would have to start to take in like they got Trey Burke.
Yeah,
have to look at the rest of the roster, but
trade fail. I did it on the trade machine, so trade fails. just those two with the salary, right? So I mean,
maybe like Powell. You could probably trade Powell for Noel, but that's just
would they do that? I feel like that's stupid.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm just looking at money. Yeah, the money doesn't really line up unless we want to bring Frankie back.
Hey,
It's a find a plan every five. And every five is
I gotta love my guy Frankie. No, but seriously, money just doesn't line up here.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it. I really don't.
It'd be quickly for Brunson, probably. And like worst case. This is worst
if
case.
that's the case,
Worst case.
well,
I don't think that'll be the case. No. This Cam, we thought Cam would be 2 first-round picks. Ended up being literally a printer and Kevin Knox. So
You thought it would be 2 first-round picks.
no, I thought that was the report.
No way
I was willing to do it. I just didn't I didn't understand what the hoopla was about. Like, oh my god, we can't give up 2 first-round picks.
No, I'm just
Thibodeau only plays 9 guys. Like, we need to. No.
No, I don't know though, man. I think Brunson's at least going to cost a pick. I think it's sort of the same situation where, not exactly the same, but like the team that they're trading him to, they're assuming that he's probably going to extend or sign again. So, with that expectation, I think you try to take like a first of some kind. Maybe they get creative here with the protections, lottery protections of some sort, or I don't know how much they want to go with it, but you could try to do something like that. I don't know. I don't know what Dallas is interested in. To be quite honest with you, and the money's very iffy, so I don't really exactly know what a package would look like here.
I feel like that trade is just like, and I don't know, maybe I'm just not excited by that trade. Like, it doesn't excite me. I wouldn't mind it for like, if it was, their 2023 first rounder back for Jalen Brunson because you were going to sign him in the offseason and now it's facilitated so you don't have to do a sign and trade and blah, blah, blah. And like, cool. And you get him for the rest of this season to make the team better right now. But I feel like whatever the move is going to be, we should make it. But if that move is Jalen Brunson, that doesn't because, all right, like, what does that do for this team ceiling? How much of the needle does that move? And maybe it does. Maybe he's exactly what we need. And he gets into the paint at will and becomes like a really solid defender and is switching on to everything and, really making plays all over the floor and throwing lobs to Mitch. Maybe that is, but like, I just don't know. Like, it's wild to me that we've seen what De'Aaron Fox can do and has done. And people will down talk his ability, but talk about what Jalen Brunson would be able to do if he was here. I think that perception, I think the worst case scenario of De'Aaron Fox, you get Jalen Brunson. And I think that De'Aaron Fox's ceiling is wildly high. How high is Jalen Brunson's ceiling?
Yeah, the Fox hate confuses the shit out of me. I don't know at some point. I think from the Knicks fans, I think it's that tweet when he made fun of us for getting the 8th pick, which is shout out to being a child if that's you. But I don't really understand what the hate would be or why people are like way overthinking this, that he wouldn't be a good fit. He'd be great. He'd be the best point guard we've had. It's like since Marbury at least.
It's because he makes money. It's because he makes money.
God forbid.
Everybody gets angry when I bring this up because that's the only reason that they're anti-moves, but they just hate when players make money. I don't know how else to describe it. Because to put it a different way, right? And again, I'm actually semi-into Brunson, but it's not the point. Brunson is 25 years of age. De'Aaron Fox is 24 years of age. De'Aaron Fox is a guy who's going to be able to get you 20 and 5 pretty easily. Jalen Brunson's a guy you hope gets you 20 and 5 at a certain point. And sometimes it's that simple, especially when Brunson's not really some wild defender right now, And then even we're talking about shooting the basketball. It's the other thing I always hear about De'Aaron Fox. Well, he doesn't shoot the basketball well. And in fairness, I already know that so far this season, he's not shooting the basketball well. That's fine. But the last couple of years, he did shoot the ball, to me, a respectable level. Like, well, at least last year. 32% last year. That was on 5.5 threes a night. He's only taken 3.5 this season. It was respectable, at least. The year before that, he shot 30. Right now, I think it's like 20. In fairness, it is in the pits. It's almost 25%. So it's bad. I get it. But I think, honestly, he's 24 years old. I think he showed he could be a semi-capable shooter at times. I would be a little bit more optimistic. My point is Jalen Brunson's only shooting like 33%.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. He's a career 36% shooter, which is solid, but I don't know why for Fox it's like this extreme thing. We spoke on the first half of this podcast. It was you, Kyle, that mentioned it. No one takes layups on this team. De'Aaron Fox, it fits exactly with that need is. I don't understand why everyone's like, oh my God, we can't do this. This is going to set us back. We're going to be capped out. Shut the fuck up already.
You got to spend money at a premium position, you know? Point guard's a premium position. If your guard situation's bad, you're not going to win anything in the NBA. If your point guard situation's bad, usually you're not going to win anything in the NBA. Like, at worst, you have to have a very good starter there. At worst. You can't have that position be ass. Like, it just doesn't work anymore. You can't win games that way. So, yeah, I mean, they got to shore it up. I would be okay with Brunson, but the Fox thing is like, it's just over the top, man. I mean, I think the Fox thing's kind of dead, though. This is my current personal feeling about it. I don't know that they're really. It doesn't sound like they're going to do that move. I just think it's not a thing that they would do. We haven't heard anything about it. We didn't hear too much smoke or anything. We only mostly heard about the Sixers and the Kings. Nothing really came out about the Knicks. So I just don't got my hopes up for that. I don't think it's really even on the table right now. We've already heard about Brunson a few times. It just kind of feels like that's what they're going to do. They usually put out a couple different feelers. We hear about it a few times, and then they go and they finally make the trade. So we'll see. I think I would like the long-term solution locked in. Like, I'm growing less patient now because I've been asking for them to do a trade and trade these picks for a while. At first, everyone said I was a madman. Now, most of us are on the same page that, yeah, I mean, we got to make a move here. We got to do something. So I think everybody's pretty ready for it. I think they got to just be ready to be a little aggressive. And for some reason, if you aren't aggressive at this deadline, like, which I can't believe that they wouldn't be to some degree, given how the season's played out with actual expectations. But this offseason, that means you really got to go get somebody. Like, you can't just keep saying, oh, well, the guy will be available in a year or 2 years or 3 years. And then every single time it doesn't happen, you know? Like, you got to just go figure out a way to go get your guy at a certain point. You got to pay. Everybody's going to pay. Everybody's got a price. You know, you got to figure out what it is and you got to go do it. But something's got to be done. You know, you got to have a talent upgrade at this point. You tried running it back this offseason, it didn't work. You know what I mean? So what's the issue then? Guys aren't playing as well, and you didn't really upgrade any of the talent. So what did you really do and accomplish here? You brought back the same team and hope a 500 team last year that got hot for 9 games last year, towards the end of last season, was going to do the exact same thing, if not better. I mean, it was a strange double down for a team that was mostly mediocre. It was good because they were mediocre given where they had just come from the year before. It was still some semblance of winning basketball, of course. But, you know, you can't just settle into that, which they did pretty quickly with how they capped themselves out. So it's time for a big trade. You know what I mean? You tried it this way. You did a couple years with the margin moves, you know. You saw any high reward type things. It worked out with you with Derrick Rose the one time. You got lucky. Not lucky, but it's hard when those things work out in your favor to that degree, right? A high-impact guy, big minutes, instantly, out of nowhere, right? Older in his career, playing backup, usually doesn't work that well. It worked pretty well for him. But now you try to do a Cam Reddish thing, but currently he's got no spot in the rotation. So if all these guys can't play, there's not enough minutes to go around. There's at some point you got to consolidate. Go make the big trade then. Go make the big trade. Go package a bunch of these guys up. Even, young guys, people are going to be upset that they go. They're not playing here. They're not playing as much as they should, and we need a difference maker. It's kind of simple at the end of the day. Like, you got to go figure it out. I would love for it to be De'Aaron Fox, but I fully expect the Jalen Brunson deal. I feel like it's going to cost a pick or two. Maybe one of them's more protected, something like that. I don't really quite know what the balance is with this kind of a trade. Maybe a young player, but maybe not somebody like a Quickly. I think that might be a little much with the first rounder. That's kind of now getting into pretty good package territory. I think that's too much.
Better not trade Emmanuel Quickly for Jalen Brunson, bro.
It doesn't make sense to me.
I'd be nauseous.
No, but I think like a more recent rookie, like if they threw in like a Sims or a Deuce, like those aren't untouchable guys. Those are more like young and interesting. You want to take a flyer? Like we'll throw them in with the pick. Like could be something, could not be something. Who knows, dude? You could find out. Like take them, something like that. But I don't know. I think that I'm going to lock that in. I think it's going to be like 2 picks. One of them's heavily protected. Something like that. Or maybe it's like a first and a second, a good second. We've got some good seconds, right? Like a good second and a regular first round pick.
We have like 10 second round picks, I think, in next year's draft. No lie.
Yeah. Yeah, so it could be a couple of those. I think they get creative, but it's going to be at least a couple of picks of different kinds. I don't think it's going to be a killer. And then yeah, like just like a deuce. I don't know. Maybe that's too much. I have no, okay. Give me what's a package you guys have? A realistic package. I have no idea what this guy would
For
take.
Brunson?
Yeah, I have no idea. This is perplexing.
I think like I said, worst case would be like quickly and like bump picks. Best case, a deal's completely center around picks and maybe one of the young guys, as you mentioned. I don't really see a middle ground pick. I mean, a middle ground trade offer, unless you add Trey Burke into the mix to make the money work. Maybe you can flip them Alec Burks. Maybe that works. I haven't done the money, but maybe something like that.
Little Trey homecoming. I like it.
Yeah. I mean, it would be short. I would cut him immediately.
I don't like it. You know.
I would cut him immediately. Yeah. Let's just keep it a buck.
Do you want your 2003 protected lottery protected pick back? No. Have a nice day. Goodbye. That's how that conversation goes. I'm not offering you multiple picks for Jalen Brunson, bro. I don't know who we're pretending Jalen Brunson is, but like he has not been that guy. I don't think that like a couple years ago, the Blazers traded 2 first-round picks for Robert Covington. And I was just like, really?
Yikes.
Like, I know you needed wing defense, but damn, like 2 first-round picks for Robert Covington. And now look what Robert Covington is doing. And now look at the Portland Trailblazers. You don't throw multiple first-round picks for just another guy. No, you can't have multiple first-round picks. No, you can't have Emmanuel Quickly. No, you damn sure as hell can't have a first-round pick and Emmanuel Quickly. Honestly, you can barely have Obi Toppin. And I think Obi Toppin is one of the assets we need to trade the most. But I just don't think that Jalen Brunson is worth that going into an unrestricted free agency where almost everyone who has a pulse knows that he would sign with us if he signed anywhere. So it's just like, you know, you can take this 23 first-round pick back or goodbye. That's it. I'm not throwing in, like, if we get fleeced for Jalen Brunson, I'll be pissed. And I don't expect that because this front office doesn't really get fleeced. And, you know, and what would make me more upset is because, and once again, I wasn't in any room, so I don't know that this actually happened. But it looked like we were making an offer for Lonzo at the deadline, or trying to kick the tires on Lonzo, but they wanted too much and he was about to be free agent, so we just let it go. That's what it looked like. And if we didn't jump on the Lonzo move and now we jump on the Jalen Brunson move and trade multiple picks, I'm going to be sick to myself.
Yeah, fuck that. I completely forgot about that. And Lonzo, like I think I said this multiple times, Lonzo would fit perfectly. But what's like one outside the box, not even a star player you guys wouldn't mind? Like for me, it's Mo Bamba. I don't know why, but it would just be to get Nerlens out of this place, but still have a replacement for this year and possibly next year. I think he has a qualifying offer of 10 mil. Is there any like weird trade target you guys would want?
It's a good question. I'm doing a quick scroll here of guys that might be somewhat available. I don't know who I really like. The big guy that I want, I know we all, I think, agree on this one, isn't available. Brogdon is the guy that feels like he could be had, but he can't be traded 6 months after agreeing to his extension. So we would have to wait until the offseason to go for him. But he's like, to me, the guy that I would like the most because, you know, I just feel like he would work really well with RJ and a guy that's can kind of do whatever at the guard position. He can catch and shoot. You know, he moves off the ball, defends well typically. You know, he scores a lot, man. He's a better scorer than he gets credit for too. But he's injured a lot too right now is the issue. But yeah, he's not available, so that's unfortunate. I don't know that anything exists.
Yeah, there's really not. Like Bamba's the only one I could truly think of off the top of my head. Brogdon's a great one. I completely forgot about that. I'm not really interested in Karis LeVert, which sounds stupid given the other people on this roster, but I don't have interest.
Sounds stupid.
Well, like, you know, he's a good player, and like I'm watching Evan Fournier. I mean, like I said, Fournier's been fine. I'm watching Alec Burke stinking up sometimes, so that's why I do feel dumb saying I don't want Karis, but I don't.
I mean, go ahead.
Like, I feel like I view things in a way of like, okay, RJ Barrett is going to be a starting wing. We just acquired Cam Reddish, who hopefully one day can be a starting wing next to him. At the very least, I've seen enough to know that Quentin Grimes can start next to him tomorrow and should. So like going to get Karis LeVert, like how much do you move the needle? And Karis LeVert is like, no. So you're not wrong for not wanting Karis LeVert at all. I would be actually livid if I saw that our name came up in Karis LeVert trade talks. I'd be like, what for what? What are we doing with them? I mean, Brogdon, yeah, would love him, but unfortunately, it's like the one person that's not available. And then from there, I mean, we've talked to her blue in the face about De'Aaron. People keep bringing up DeJounte Murray. I don't think that's happening at all. I don't see why the Spurs would trade the only thing they really have going for them right now. Like you just got to think about it. Like if somebody called you today and was like, "Hey, I want RJ," you'd be like, "All right, man, give me a couple picks and Obi Toppin, and here you go." Like, no, you wouldn't. Like that's not how that goes. So that's not gonna happen that way. As far as like, I mean, Mo Bamba would be cool. That'd be like a stretch five, and Mo Bamba being behind me should be really nice to have that kind of impact all night. And then have that kind of lineup versatility. Somebody I saw a CJ McCollum trade on the timeline today.
I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that at all.
I don't know how I feel.
I wouldn't.
It depends on what you're giving up.
He makes a lot of sense. It depends what you're giving up, but like just fit wise, he could do. Like for example, just follow me here. I don't even feel like doing the full on package thing for him. But just follow me here is why I think he'd be like a Thibs guy, right? He's an off ball guard, right? He handles the ball a lot. Okay. They trust him as a lead playmaker. He's played point guard for them a number of times. He's ran their offense for them a number of times. That's very Thibsy. Like, let me just take this off-ball guard and just make him do a bunch of stuff on the ball. And then he'd probably do that with RJ to a pretty decent degree. Depends what it would cost. There's always a right cost for deals, of course. But if you could just, if picks and money and there's no asset issues, and you could just put CJ on this team right now and just think about it that way, I can see how it makes a lot of sense.
So are we playing CJ at the 1?
I would. If you're starting Alec Burks at the 1, there's no reason where you can't just slide CJ McCollum into that spot.
I hate it less if we go like CJ, Quentin Grimes, RJ, Randle, Mitch. I hate it less.
Boom.
I hate it less that way. I don't like it with CJ coming in and taking the spot next to RJ. Now we still need a 1 and we've held back Grimes or whatever. But if we do that and we go with because I think CJ can handle the ball well enough to let you kind of have like a point RJ lineup if you really want to. Like that's kind of how I do it. I want RJ doing most of the ball handling, but like I don't like RJ being the point guard, and then people are picking him up from 70 feet and now he's got to like get us into the offense. I don't really want him doing that, but CJ gives you the ability to not have to rely on that. I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate CJ at the 1, and I think that Grimes and RJ as wing defenders make up for CJ's not prowess in that area, and he spaces the floor. Yeah, that'd be that. And that way, I don't hate it. I like it that way.
It depends on what the package would be. Because I don't know what they're going to do in Portland. It seems like they're going to keep Dame and try to switch the rest. You never know. But if he's a guy that could be had, I know like Sixers were a name that came up often for CJ. I'm sure he's going to have a bunch of different suitors, probably more playoff and team contender types. But I don't know that he's like the guy that you'd want end of the day per se. Like I know we're waiting on like the star, the big upside swing, right? Obviously he's not that, but like he's pretty consistent at what he does. Like in terms of scoring, like that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to get an immediate 20 to 25 per game, point per game guy to just plug in next to RJ and provide some real balance and spacing. But I mean, the deal for that might be a little bit different. So we'll see about that. I don't really know about any other teams though, because I agree Murray's not going to go anywhere for the Spurs. I didn't see a lot of other, teams that I think would really be moving off somebody. Like, I don't think you can get Cole Anthony, right? I think the Magic probably are going to hold on to him. OKC has SGA, but he's not going anywhere. Of all the moving that Sam Presti wants to do down there, he's not. SGA seems like a staple for whatever it is that they eventually decide to do one day, hopefully, while he's still playing basketball. But they're going to hold on to him, it seems like. So if the Fox don't move, if the Kings don't move Fox and if the Mavs don't move Brunson, I mean, those are really the only two moves I think are for like kind of bigger names, like impact type guys, like starting type players. I don't see anybody else really on the market. Because who else would it be? Everybody else, you can't get a Rozier right now. The Hornets are a better team. He works really well with LaMelo. They play fast. They have a little identity for the first time in a while in the playoff hunt. Like, there's no way they shake that up, right? I don't know who would really be available,
Yeah, that's what I'm starting. Now that I'm really I'm canvassing the market, unless you're like, as Fisher reported, everyone's available. Like, unless you include Randle to move for a bigger player, even if that's Fox or something, I'm just spitballing. I really don't see like a clear-cut trade. I mean, we never do, but this year in particular, I just don't like, even the teams on the bottom. I don't know what OKC wants.
Oh,
the Pelicans have nothing but shit. I don't like anything on the Pelicans except Zion.
So
I would take BI if they were.
Yeah, but they're going to want something ridiculous. Like, they're going to treat him. Yeah, that's the reason. Like, obviously Ingram's very good, but they're going to cap and say some stupid shit as an offer, and I'm just on the mood.
So didn't it come out? I don't think this is I'm not trying to fully entertain it, but they said Harden didn't want to play for the Nets anymore, right? That was the rumor that came out today.
Philly's just throwing wild shit out.
He doesn't like living in Brooklyn.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. If you don't like living in Brooklyn, Philly is not an upgrade. Philly's like living in the Bronx. So I don't know what they're really trying to get at. I don't know what Philly's doing. It's kind of disgusting PR moves by them because they're just clearly stuck with Ben Simmons and they can't get over it. Just
Daryl
because
Morey is a madman.
He could have fixed this. Just because he was adamant about keeping Maxey, I'm so happy he's in this position. Fuck him.
He's a madman. It's unbelievable.
Officially, Ice tweeted like last week or whatever that Harden was going to ask for a trade as soon as he went to the New York strip club. And then today, we're just like, whoa, look at that. That's hilarious.
I mean, if he were truly going to be available, I mean, you can't just keep balking at like superstars that become available. I would hope that they if I can inquire, if he forces his way in free agency, just give him a ring, at least see what's going on this time. I'm tired of us not even talking to these guys when they come on the market. But I mean, if that were true, if he really doesn't like living in Brooklyn, allegedly, according to probably Daryl Morey, I would like for him to, take a gander over here first, but it's not going to happen.
How do you feel about Soho?
I think he'd like Uptown. I think he would actually like Uptown for whatever it's worth. But
yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately.
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think a package centered around Randle gets done.
Absolutely not.
No, I mean, yeah, but that's it, right? Nobody else has really come up. Just in total, there was the whispers about Donovan Mitchell again, but I mean, that's the one that we've been talking about forever because of the infinitely obvious.
Have you been hearing have you been hearing he wants to go to a big market after leaving Utah?
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. I can confirm that he knows people in New York and has occasionally thought about what it would be like to play here. I can confirm he's had those thoughts. I've been inside of his head, so it's a good situation. But
can confirm he likes the colors blue and orange.
Can't confirm. We know for a fact. It's a lot of things we can confirm. I'm just saying, but no, they gotta really go after it at some point. Like in all seriousness, I want to stop sounding like an insane person on this podcast, being like every year I'm like, this is the year. They got 7 first-round picks in 5 years. This is the year. They're gonna take a big swing. The big swing doesn't happen. We just get Cam Reddish. That's it. It's like 6 months go by. It's the offseason again. I'm like, all right, baby, here we go. They're finally gonna get aggressive. They got all this money. It's just Evan Fournier. All right, let's just pack it back up. Like one of these years, it's going to be like you got to go for Donovan Mitchell, and then like a week later, we get the Woj bomb, and it's just the Knicks have a great blockbuster trade. They get Donovan Mitchell, and then we're like, what the fuck? They finally did, and then we got to talk about it. One of these days is going to happen. I don't know when.
Can't wait.
It might not happen in my lifetime, to be honest with you, but one of these days it's going to happen where they finally do the thing, the obvious thing. Everybody knows about it, and they finally come through and do it. I would like for that to happen before I rest in my grave. It'd be a nice thing. But just go get him. Just go get him. He hates
all jokes aside, that is the most logical. Like if you look at the superstar landscape,
100%.
I can't think
that
of
Utah
anyone else.
Jazz first round exit. I'm so sorry to cut you off, but it gets me excited. To think about
It's good.
That Utah Jazz first round exit is going to hit so beautifully. First or maybe second round. I think at that point, that's going to be 2 years into the contract now, and it's going to be all right. Like, this is now a couple years we've gone. We haven't hit the Western Conference Finals. We got coached off the floor without Kawhi Leonard 1 year. Who knows what will happen this year? Maybe like, oh man, that first round exit this year, I needed like air.
And him and Rudy just don't like each other. It's pretty obvious. Even I don't really watch any Jazz, and I can feel it. So that's a really good thing. And if Rudy Gobert can make Mitchell and Nick, I might have to go purchase a Rudy Gobert jersey afterwards.
Nah, facts. I'll be a Rudy Gobert fan for sure.
It's been time. It really has. I mean, Gobert is very good at what he does. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to like overly downplay, but like it's the common things that I like to say on here, like the scale that I use is the floors and ceilings, and it's like Gobert does not give you a high ceiling. Gobert significantly raises your floor. It's very, very good. You want that. You want that stability. A lot of teams do, right? I understand it, but you're only going so far with that, and then it takes like you got to like crush your margin moves to like an insane degree for that to work out. Like Jordan Clarkson, right? Really, really good bench player, right? But he would need to play like 2012 J.R. Smith, like on fire every night type thing, like almost taking a leading role. You know what I mean? Like for it to really, really pan out. And he's more streaky than that, right? But like you that's what you would need in a Jazz situation, which they don't have. They don't have that. They don't have to get like Jingles one night, right? He has a good game, and then it's Bogdanovich the next night has like a 28 5-5 game before he disappears for a few. They don't have like that consistent other like dude who's like him. So at some point, I would hope he's going to get tired of it, playing in front of these Mormons every fucking night. Like, let's pack it up, man. Let's get every time you post something on Instagram, it's like 10,000 white supremacists in your comment. Like you can, there's racism here. It's less aggressive,
just sharing the floor with a grown man with the nickname Jingles. That's like a reason enough to relocate.
That's a fact.
Yeah, but I look, he's got to get out of here. He's got to get out of here immediately. That would be, to me, that's the biggest swing that they should go for. But if they don't do Fox, like that's what I'm hoping for is Mitchell. They got to get a guard. You need a guard wing. That's like period. You need to start talent on the perimeter. Like that's the next step. If you're keeping RJ especially, you need that.
Yeah. But yeah, I think go big or go home, I think should be the theme of the deadline, or clear out Deadwood. That should be like the two main themes. Either get out of like the Nerlens contract or make a serious upgrade. On the margins, it's really not going to do anything.
The most important person to clear out is Alec Burks, because you can't move Evan Fournier, but you got to play Cam. Got to play Grimes.
I think Noel's worse to me than Burks. Noel's not even available. And his fast break yesterday, when I tell you it gave me heart palpitations, I was like, please pass the ball. Please, somebody call timeout.
I've been killing Nerlens for some time, but he played well the past couple games. But I don't even mean like he's worth. I just mean that like with Nerlens, the minutes he's taken away, even if you trade Nerlens, those minutes go to Taj Gibson. Like, it's not like he's like holding something back necessarily, but like we have too many wings. Like we got too many wings. Somebody's got to go. So that's why I think first it's just most important to move a wing. I think that wing, of course, would be Evan Fournier in an ideal world, but realistically, that's not going to happen. So I feel like Alec Burks is a casualty of that. But if you can do both at the same time, like consolidate and make the big move, that would be lovely. But I don't really see the big move out there being made. I mean, unless it's Fox for real. I don't really want to do the Brunson thing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. What day is the trade deadline? February 10th?
That sounds right. Might be.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, February 10th. Yeah,
February 10th. But
yeah, so February 10th. So we got about almost 2 weeks. So we'll get some answers soon. But yeah, I think if that report, I think, was from Jake Fisher. Again, he's been fairly reliable with stuff. So if they got everybody on the table more or less, then. Well, I mean, let's see. I would hope at least a couple of moves are coming. If you've been one of the more active teams at the deadline, and for a particularly stagnant roster, I think that's what they need. You need to get a little bit of fresh blood in there and, change. You got to change stuff. That's how this goes. So we'll see what happens. A lot of interesting names. We'll see what they actually go through with. I know that we would like to see Burks, like to see Noel, moved, clear some of the space out, but we'll see what they actually go with. Hopefully they could surprise us a little bit and we get something a little bit better than just a little dump and a little margin move again. But I know Shaun's not all that enthused about Brunson. I'm all right with it. I think it's at least a decent enough stopgap. Even if you pay him, I think teams would be somewhat interested in him regardless, to some degree. I don't think it's the worst thing, but it's got to be the right package, obviously, the right, right situation. But we'll see what happens there. But that's really all that I've got. I think we kind of touched on everything, but it's a tough schedule coming up, man. It really is. I don't normally like to talk about the schedules being tough or easy because, as you guys both know, I don't believe in such things. When we've had hard schedules before, we've won games. When we've had easy schedules before, we've lost games. So the schedule is the schedule to me. It just looks a little bit more daunting with some good teams. And I think we got, a West Coast road trip coming up. Not ideal. We don't normally play well in West Coast road trips. So interesting to see what happens there. But, another big stretch. But at this point, it's like we always say, you got to knuckle up. You got to go win some games, man. It's a long season. It's tough. You're going to lose games you shouldn't. You don't want to, but you got to figure out, a way you got to pull it together here. The West Coast, you can let the season basically goes to die if they have a terrible road trip. It's kind of how it goes. You can hover 500 for a while. You can stay in the race, stay in the hunt. But the second you lose like 3, 4, 5 games at once, something like that, like those are the insurmountable leads because you go from like, we're a game out from a spot, 2 games out from a spot. We're 3, 4 games. We'll run, 1 run away from like really getting back in the thick of it. When you give a little bit too much ground like that, it kind of takes you right back out, and then it's kind of an insurmountable lead at that point. So I would hope not. I don't want to start lottery looking with you guys again. I'm not really ready to talk draft picks like that. I don't really feel like doing all that. So. I would hope that the Knicks got, some better games and some better plans up their sleeves because it could be a rough February after what was turning into initially a pretty nice January. We had some wins. Knicks were going 8-11 at one point over the last 11. RJ was playing good ball. And it's been a disappointing couple of weeks since then. But we'll see what happens on this upcoming stretch. But I appreciate you guys tuning in, of course. I think give us a 5-star rate and review. Helps us keep doing what we do. And just want to say, too, we started this week also. I know you guys have seen some advertisements with our partners, Prize Picks. So make sure you go there. We got a nice link, nice little promo code to give you guys. Code TKW. Go through our link. You get a $100 deposit match. So 100% price match up to $100. So, take advantage of that deal. I've been trying to get used to these parlay picks. I did a couple over the NFL weekends. Wasn't terrible. We gave you guys Fournier yesterday. We won't do that again in our pick of the day. The sincerest apologies. We were trying to give him the benefit of the doubt lately, and we were like, you know what? Let's throw him up there. He's been scoring pretty well. We'll take the over today. First corner, Fournier came out. Looked like we were, geniuses again. It did not work out.
That Sunday lock, though, before the fourth quarter, both picks locked. Reggie Jackson over 50.5. RJ Barrett over 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists. That's a lock.
That was a lock. That was a good one. But so we'll go back to RJ's. No more Fourniers. I think we learned our lesson there. But it is what it is. So if you're riding with us on those, just stay tuned. We're gonna have our picks of the days on game days. But again, shout out the good folks at Prize Picks. And let's go next. We'll talk to you guys again next week. Take it easy.
Adios.
Peace.